Hello and welcome to sunny Denmark for the 2022 World Orienteering Championships. It's the first ever sprint-only champs, and I have to say everyone is super excited, especially as this event should have happened 2 years ago. It's been 5 years in the making. I know all the course setters, all of the organisers are very, very excited to welcome a crowd back to the World Orienteering Championships, and they've got a whole load of great courses planned. We will start today then in Kolding here. You see, this is Kolding Hoos. This is where the arena is right now with the sprint relay. It's going to be a fantastic set of races. We're going to crown a new world champion, and of course it's the usual sprint relay format, so starting off with the women's leg, then 2 men, and ending with the women. As is custom in the World Championships, we have only 1 team per nation, and there are loads up there at the top who are going to fight it out for the medals. It's going to be really, really exciting. It is on the warm side here. It's probably cooled down a little bit since we pre-ran the course, Jonas, but it's a really glorious setting for lots of people to come out and watch, and it really feels like a special occasion here. We've got these stands with everybody being able to see the start and the finish, which is in around this white building here, where it's actually the old stables for the castle, which you see on the hill, and this whole area is elevated by about 20 meters above the rest of the town, which is fairly flat, so you've got a fantastic view over the rest of the town, and they will be climbing up the hill basically to make it towards this start finish area. They have got an arena passage as well, but the crowds have been here for an hour or so already. We've had our opening ceremony. Everybody's been gathering here and figuring out what's been going on. Meanwhile, this is what the athletes have been doing. They've been heading into the quarantine behind Tova Alexandersson here. She's going to be running the last leg for the Swedish team. Everyone's just been kind of chilling out, getting ready, and of course they don't know anything about what the courses here are going to be. They have done a lot of geeking, they've done a lot of preparation. This always happens for a World Championship specifically. There's so many hours of effort going into having a look at old maps, going through the, say, Google Street View, things like that, to get as much information as they can, planning lots of courses. So they'll have all of that in their minds as they sit here and they prepare for a couple of hours in the quarantine before they emerge into this arena and have the full experience of running this sprint relay. And even just to get on this sprint relay team for some is, there are so many good runners here, and just to make it on the team is a really big achievement, because there's only four places, and with the races spread out much more than a mixed WOC, then we have people running all of the races. You have a lot of you're not saving any of the runners for the individual like maybe we've seen at previous World Championships, so they're really going all out to try and win this. I know it's going to be really very exciting, and we will talk through the teams in just a bit, but all the preparation in these final stages. And do you think they're feeling any nerves at this point, Jonas? What do you reckon?
Of course, I hope they feel any nervousness. I mean, it's we heard an interview just before with Lina Strand, who will be running the first leg for Sweden, and she actually mentioned that it gets worse and worse with every year, and she's a really experienced runner. So I think it's good, and it's a good sign for the runners to get nervous. I mean, always in some kind of up to some level that's good, but I think they want they want to feel that nervousness, and they would actually get nervous if they wouldn't be nervous in a way.
Yeah, you kind of know something's wrong if you're not getting nervous.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It really is. Yeah, you know something's wrong if you're not kind of, feeling that little bit of pressure. But, all of these athletes, they know how to deal with the pressure. They know how to get themselves on the start line in the best possible shape that they can be.
Yeah, of course. And as you mentioned, they prepared a lot for this. I mean, we have never had the World Championships where they had so much time to prepare. As you mentioned, they had to move the World Championships. There was more focus on sprint because you didn't have the forest focus as well. It's the first time when you only have all of the runners focusing on sprint, so this will make this race today and the whole week very special.
Yeah, they've been pretty much since the season ended last year, 2021. People like Casper Foster, you can see here, go straight into their sprint training. There were lots of test races in the autumn already. And then, of course, again, as they go through the winter and into the spring, there's been lots of test races, training races happening in Denmark as well. A lot of the athletes have travelled here to be able to do that preparation where in the country that this is going to be held.
Yeah, of course, it's a usual thing to do, that you travel to the country. It's a bit special. I mean, before, in my opinion, it's more important in the forest because then you have to adapt to the terrain and everything. But of course, you have a special way how cities are built in different countries, and I think it's also kind of a
it's a confidence thing as well.
Yeah, it's a confidence thing. You have been here, you have the feeling that you've done everything you can to be ready at today, and it's important for the runners, of course.
Yeah, confidence is so valuable in orienteering, and it's often based on, I know I've done this training, I'm confident because I am well prepared, but they will not know exactly what awaits them on this course. We can see that the estimated winning time of each leg is 15 minutes as they go around. There's not too much difference between the men's and the women's courses as we go into more detail, but we have our first look then at the course map. Jonas, why don't you talk us through it?
You see the start is up on the hill, and directly now it's a bit different between the men's and the women's start here. You have a common first control for the women's, but the forking here is actually from control 1 to 4, so it will split up here. 4 is the first time, and you have it's kind of the forking finished. Then you go back up on the hill here, arena passage at control 8 and map change. So you flip the map at control 8, you run through the arena, and down there you have quite a steep artificial staircase to get to control 9, and then it's a long route here to control 10. Also this one forked, lots of different options you can run. We will see that more closely later on. And you go over the river here towards control 11, 12. Actually quite a cheap control, but usually that's a sign for the route choice coming. So it's a route choice to control 13, of course. See the different options here. It's also difference between the men's option and the women's option. Green and blue is the women's course, and in red it was the men's course. 15 again, and then back to the arena to control 16 and 17.
So how do you reckon this compares to what they were anticipating? Do you think they'll be surprised by this course?
I don't think they will be very, very surprised, because they are aware of it's a very intense sprint. So you have many route choices in almost all of the legs. You have a lot to do on the way to get to the controls. You're busy all the time, and I think that's kind of the way of orienteering they expect here. So I don't think they will be so surprised with that, but the course planner, they really tried to do everything that you can be surprised as a runner. So they opened up passages where we didn't expect it to be open, because it looks private when you are there. So they opened the doors. You couldn't prepare for that. There are staircases down from the hill where you have you couldn't expect that. So I think it's a very good course. And here we have Ida Bobak in the picture, leading us towards control 10.
Former world champion, of course, for Denmark, and she's always going to be our runner here. But this control is a forked control, and the planners think they will approach this from two different directions. So if you have this control, you'll approach from the south. If you have the other control, you'll approach from the north.
Yeah.
So it's a case of not getting dragged down the wrong forking, I think. And then here's another quite interesting route choice by the railway and the river as well. There's several different options, and this controller, by the way, is only on the men's course, this long forking here.
Yes, and I think it's the yellow one that's the fastest, but we will see. Of course, that's at least a guess from the route planner, for the course planner, and you see that the green one and the yellow one, they're quite, I mean, distance-wise, there is no big difference, so you can choose whatever you want, more or less.
Is it the classic sprint thing of maybe there being two good options and one bad option? As long as you don't choose the bad option, you're okay?
Yeah, and I think, I mean, for me, this one is quite obvious because the red one, there is even a part where you have to run away from the control again, and it's like you don't want to pick that option, even if it would be as long as the others. It's kind of a confidence thing that if you see the other option, then you more likely will choose this one.
And this is a last little section, last little route choice decision before essentially everything's pretty straightforward from control 15 onwards. And there is another option to go right of the line and come through this area of restaurants, but when we tested it was much quicker to go the green route.
Yeah, and I mean it's shorter here as well, 30 meters, and I think this is quite decisive.
This is what it looks like as Ida Boak is just coming out of this area. It's not, there aren't too many sharp corners in that either, so it's quite quick.
And I think it's quite the decisive one. It's one of the last controls. From there it's very easy orienteering just up the hill. It's quite a tough uphill there to the last control. It will be physically tough to decide this race if there are several teams approaching the last control at the same time.
And these steps were quite slippery as well when we ran them before, and then there's a bit of a carpet over some of the grass, which is also, it's very slow. It's just energy sapping as well, really is, as you head your way up here.
We can also mention that the pictures here, they're not from today, so it wasn't raining today. It's not as slippery as it looks on the pictures on screen.
So that is the look then at the courses. There are more route choices than even we described there, so we will go through those as we go around the courses. Let's look at the start list. So the numbers correspond to their positions last year in the Czech Republic, where Sweden took another world title. And really, are we looking at the same kind of top three? We always, when we're talking about sprint relay, we're always talking about Sweden and Switzerland. Is it the same?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you look at Sweden, they won the world champions now 3 times in a row. Switzerland are the reigning European champions, so of course they are the big favorites. Now, last years, we got Norway as one competitor, and also then we often had one more team that it's kind of outside favorite. We had it a few times with Czech Republic. I don't expect them to be really up there today, but the British team looks quite strong.
Yeah, Charlotte Ward here is leading them off. They've got an improved team, I would say, compared to the one that took them as a 4th place nation at the World Cup in Borås, because they've got Ralph Street and Chris Jones back after a short illness from them. The Czech team have Teresa Yamashikova. What could the Danes do? Are the Danes in with anything? They've got a big home support here. I hope you can hear that on the broadcast. Lots of support here for the home World Championships. Simone Abersold will lead off the Swiss. They have the same team that they had at the World Cup in Borås, so a very experienced team. Norwegian team, a fairly inexperienced first leg in Anna Dukorn. But they've got a lot of experience towards the end. They've really packed the end of their team, and again, such an experienced team for the Swedes. I mean, to pick this team must have been so tricky. There are so many good runners. What do you think the selectors and the team managers have gone for?
Well, I mean, in the end, I think the biggest discussion were about this first leg. Will it be Lina Strand or will it be Hanna Lundberg? My guess is that they've chosen experience. I mean, and of course they had the result from Borås when they were competing against each other, and Lina Strand had a really good first leg there. So in my opinion, it was quite an easy pick. You could choose experience, and you had the result from Borås.
Okay, there we go. They're straight away into this first leg of the mixed sprint relay at the first ever sprint-only World Championships. And Teresa Yamashikova is the first leg. It gets very narrow here right at the start, but they do have quite a long run out to the start control itself, but there's lots of people to cheer them on. As we can see, they round Kolding here, this beautiful castle, and they head out. Now, the women's control, they do have a forked first control, so they've got to make that decision as to which way they go, and here it's I would probably all expect them to go the same way down after the steps here. We're expecting them to turn sharp right, but you never really know.
Interesting at this forking is that few of the runners, they go directly to have the second control of forking, let's call it A, as their first control, and the others, they had a control in between. But as I mentioned in the preview of the course, the whole forking is actually lasting until control 4. So
Yeah.
don't get confused by that.
No, it's a long forking. A lot of them have just like one control is forked, but here, no, not the case. And Simona Abasol leading out this pack. We've got Finland in there, Czech Republic, Estonia, Denmark, Great Britain in there as well, as they make their way to the first control. Looks like they will they need to find a little gap in on the right, and then they will scoot back round for that first one, and they will meet up with everybody. So here are the forkings. We know Sweden had B, Switzerland had B, Czech Republic had B, Great Britain had B, so they are all heading in that same way. I think going right is actually slightly shorter, even for both of them, but we will see how it all plays out at control number 4. So there you can see Denmark and Finland have got the further control number 1. Whereas Sweden, it looks like that was a good route from Lina Strand, or hard sometimes to tell about the GPS tracking in amongst all the buildings. But this is how they head off at the start. Okay. Now we've got our drone shots, and the next couple of controls are in this kind of courtyard in the centre. Again, a couple of different controls here before they get to the common control at number 4. Let's see if we can see what teams are up near the front. They will emerge again from within that holding. And then they will, so there's 2 controls in this section.
You get Denmark, Norway, is it? Finland?
Yeah, I think Hungary is up there as well. Lithuania. I think there is some difference in which routes you have, but Denmark leading there. Nicolina Friberg-Klusner is the first leg runner for the Danish team.
And we have seen Sweden. We haven't seen Switzerland here in the picture.
There she is. But of course, you know, the forkings, they are different lengths, and I think you want to have the longer forking first, and I think that's what we saw from Simona Abasol, but we also saw Lina Strand having that same forking, and she's made a really good start. But impressive to see, you know, some of these other nations. So Denmark are really strong off the front of this race here, and lots of teams together. So really close here. So 23 teams within 16 seconds of each other. It's so close here. So the next point we'll see them, I think, will be through this arena passage where they've got a couple of easy controls before they head through the arena, and then they've got some pretty lethal steps to go down down from this this hill where we have the castle.
And you see here that there's a forking, but this time it's only one control on the way back to the castle. It's hard to see who actually was at control A, who wasn't, but of course it's the GPS between the buildings here that makes it different. But we have a camera at control 7, so then we will see who actually manages.
Okay, so we wanted to kind of head up this way. I think that was good, rather than going round. We see Klusner's lost some time with the person she was running with, and then they've got to climb up here, up on this track. You can see the first control, I think, very, very shortly round there. Here's his first one, and it's Norway in the lead, it's closely followed by Finland. They're all so close here.
And we were talking about it yesterday and also today a bit. I mean, if Norway manages to get through this first leg, they will be very dangerous on the last 2 legs. So it's a very crucial leg for the Norwegian team here, and Durkon, she had a great start so far.
And it's such a short first loop here that they're really so close together at this point. And maybe it's only really on that second loop we're going to see. So this is, they have the maps flipped now. We can already see a load of them of making that change, turning that map over, really getting a detailed look at the long leg that comes after this map change. But the leader is Lina Strand, followed by Simona Abasov. We've got the Hungarian team there, Finland, Norway, Spain, Ukraine and Great Britain are there. I think Charlotte Ward is moving up places just on the physical strength going through there. She's managed to overtake a few people as well. Estonia have dropped back, so too Canada. And we've got some of the other teams, but still, to be honest, still very, very close. It's only been, though, a couple of minutes of running, really, and now we get to the second part. They go down these steps. So there was a picture given of these steps, and everyone was told to be careful. They are steep as anything, but they have been warned that they were told that they'd be going down them. They didn't know when, though. And here we have another control number 9, and then we have this route choice leg.
You can see now there we will have this very long route choice, and you can see there's a small gap between Sweden and Switzerland, and then there's another small gap to the rest of the group. And you could also see in Lina Strand's face, she was very confident when she passed here. It looked very strong.
Yeah, and that's kind of what she did. She did in Borås. She managed to stretch out, and she really managed to get that gap, and that was really, really impressive. And you can see them going.
For Switzerland, it will be very important now to don't let this gap grow here. You can actually see in the picture some hesitation there by Simona Abasov. I think she was deciding quite late to go on another route choice. You can see it in the GPS here. And here we also have the different option. And as you mentioned before, if you have Control B there, you want to approach the control from the south, as we saw Ida Bobak in the picture. And if you have Control A, you go for the yellow or green one.
So Switzerland have B, Sweden have A, Great Britain have A, so that's good. Let me have a look at Finland. Finland have B, actually, so maybe they're not quite the right route choice for Marika Taney here. They wiggle their way through here. Of course, lots of barriers in place as well.
And if you have Control A, it actually doesn't really matter if you go on the yellow or the green option here. They're quite the same distance. If you have Control B, you can take this small passage. I think Simona Abasov is heading toward it now. So there's an option on this red route. Hard to say what she's doing. I guess that she is choosing to take this passage there. Heading down. I think it's a little bit faster to go there, actually.
It's a long leg. It's about 650 meters between the two controls. The quickest route, the shortest route here. It's quite long, but you can't really use too much of this time to look ahead because it's so intense here. You really have to look all the time. And this is Simona Abasov. She's come from the south then, and she's got the B control. Here is the control. There she is. And really closely looking for the next. There's another route choice as they head out of here. But who is that? Was that Charlotte Ward? Or is that?
I think it was Charlotte Ward.
I think it was Charlotte Ward. She had the other control. There is Finland, Marika Taney, and Teresa Yanashikova is going a strange route out there. Oh, no, I guess you can. There's a couple of different passageways out onto the main street that you can take from there. Isia Basse for first leg for the French team.
We didn't see Sweden, but we can see here in the GPS that she is still in the lead. Good route choice here towards Control 11.
So it looks like a clear 3 leaders then, Strand, Ward and Abasov. So Sweden, Great Britain and Switzerland. And this looks like the better, when we tested it, this seemed to be the better route choice to this control as well. There's a possibility of going east and going across a different bridge, but this one definitely looked better. Then quite an easy leg there. So there we can see the top 3 are all within sight of each other. Lina Strand, then Charlotte Ward, then Simona Abasov.
And you can see also that the gap still is about the same as before. before the route choice, there was a small hesitation by Abersold, but it didn't really affect the times here, which option you had. So A and B was quite about the same.
Then they have another forking. This is the last forking of the race. And there's a few different passageways here.
You don't want to go down there, you have to stay up there. Exactly, so a small mistake by Lina Strand.
And she drops back from first to third. Everyone's so close together here. And this is a good route to take where whichever of these controls you've got, we can have a little look. Sweden have A, Switzerland have A, Great Britain have B. This is the last forking of this course.
And now you saw that Charlotte Ward, she went down there already before the bridge. But there she's heading towards B, so everything fine. It'll be interesting to see how big is the gap between these three runners in Norway.
So I feel like Charlotte Ward will have lost a little bit of time dropping down early. It looks like she's slightly behind, but they've got the different forkings here, and they'll meet back up again at control number 14, which is by the oldest house in Kolding. I think it's 13th century, if you want a little bit of facts there. And then we will see that there is a little route choice then up to 15 as well. And then from 15 it is a climb up this hill towards the castle and towards the exchange again. So very shortly we will have leg 2, and they are getting underway. They've been in the quarantine. They won't really know what's been happening, although now of course in this arena they will get a little bit of information from Per Forsberg, who's doing the arena commentary. But it is Sweden in the lead there. This is control 14 ahead of Switzerland, I think, and Great Britain probably a little bit further back there. That is the oldest house. And then they turn right out of here, and there is third place. So I think Charlotte Ward losing a little bit of time then coming out when she dropped down slightly earlier. She too goes right, and then there are a couple of different alleyways through got a lot of restaurants and things through there. Here is 4th, 5th and 6th.
Let's see where we have Norway. She's here in this second group. Now it's here to the left.
So the organisers, the plan is expected a lot more of them to turn left here and go this way that we see Norway, Czech Republic, everybody doing. They put that up for us as the two main options, and then with the choice of dipping in here, going under an underpass right and taking that. But here is Lina Strand, and my goodness me, she's just stepped on the gas to get away from Simona Abersold at the end of this leg. We know Simona Abersold had kind of a tough winter. She had injury, and maybe this is where just that last little bit of strength she is losing there.
And you can see now she's really playing the strength, the physical strength here. I think she noticed that she has a chance to let the gap grow, and she's really playing that card hard.
She's struggling up there. She's really tired. Here's third place. Here's Charlotte Ward.
Great first leg here by Charlotte Ward. Now they have two really strong men coming.
That's my mum, by the way, with the GB flag cheering Charlotte Ward up on the trip up there. But Lina Strand hands over then to Max Petterbema. It is the same story, I think, as the World Cup in Sweden. They have the gap there. Really strong physical performance from Lina Strand. Simona Abersold, she looks tired, but she is going to hand over to some very, very fast orienteers. Here is Joey Haddon, hand over there. Let's see how many seconds back. I think it's about 17 seconds back. Here's third place. And Ralph, she doesn't quite know what she's got to do. They've got to run round there. And Charlotte Ward hands over to Ralph Street. Then they've got Chris Jones, but some of the others have managed to catch up here. Ukraine handing over in 4th place. Then we've got to watch out here for some of the other medal contenders. We've got Czech Republic, we've got Norway, we've got Denmark, and they are all on the chase here. Poland hands over to, where's the French team?
We kind of have the same situation as we had in Budapest. We have Sweden in the lead with quite a clear gap, 17 seconds here. Then we have Great Britain, 34 seconds behind Ukraine. Lina Babic, 37 seconds behind. Then Czech Republic, 41 seconds behind. And Norway, the third big favorite here, or one of the big favorites for the medal, 41 seconds behind. So still, they're kind of together. But there is a gap between Sweden and Switzerland and Great Britain.
So yeah, here we can see, we just saw Ralph Street going around there and everybody is chasing them down here. We could see the Czech team, the Norwegian team, really, really close. And actually, maybe something the runners won't expect is that they've got a common first control.
And I think that the route choice by Max Peter Beimer is better here to this first control. Let's see, my guess is that he will win a few seconds here, and that the group behind with Ralph Street and Krivda Ödum, that they will get a little bit closer here to Switzerland.
Yeah, then they have the same controls as the women, just that common first control, then they'll have either A or B. But you can see just you have to back up from the control. There we go. Now Ralph Street goes ahead into second place. So it wasn't a good route choice there.
So I've only lost about 17 seconds on this route here.
That is, you know, for him to be punching that control and suddenly there's all of these runners come swooping behind, that is not what you want to see.
No, of course not. I mean, he didn't really know how big the gap is. There was some struggles here by the British team at the changeover, but I mean, he noticed that he just lost time to the first control.
It's kind of a strange changeover because they have to run past the runners that they're incoming. There is almost a place they could hand over, but no, they have to go kind of completely back. It is quite confusing, to be honest. But here is the leader then. Here's Max Peter Beimer. Such an experienced Swedish team.
Still, I mean, he's a first-timer at championships. It's the first time he gets the chance in the sprint relay, but of course he has great results individually. He was 5th place at the sprint world championships last year, so he's the most inexperienced on their team, but that doesn't really mean very much. Such is the depth. Such is the fantastic form of these athletes. Okay, here's the chasing pack then. Ralph Street leading that one out, followed by Joey Haddon, followed by Thomas Krivda of Czech Republic, Lucas Leland for Norway. Denmark just kind of off the back of that group, but those are seconds to about 8th, I would say, that group to go round in this control. And of course, they will be pushing really hard now as a group. They know that Sweden is in the lead, and we saw a crash there in the background.
And just something like that. This is control 5. We've got the time checks there, so we can see maybe the gap between the leaders and the chasing group. It's now down, I think, to, was it 21 seconds? Is that what it says? 31 seconds.
31 seconds.
31 seconds. So Max Peter Beimer has a 30-second lead over the pack. So we will soon see him through our arena passage.
We can see another different route choice there by Joey Haddon. Of course, it's forking here. And you can see it's a big gap now for Max Peter Beimer, already heading up to the castle and the map change.
Yeah, here he is. He's already in this park section by the castle. And the others will chase. They will go. There they are. There's the group. They've all gone this pretty similar way. Oh no, now looks like a little bit of a gap has been made again. I think we've got Great Britain, Switzerland in there as well.
We know that the gap was 31 seconds before between Max Peter Beimer and the chasing group. So let's see if the gap is growing or if they get closer. It's actually growing a little bit.
It is growing a little bit, but they're all so close, this group. So we saw Czech Republic, Switzerland, Norway, Great Britain. All of these kind of top teams really close. And for me, it's Thomas Krivda who's really taken the initiative at this part here. Has gone to the front, hit the front and controlling this race.
And the Danish team, they have to be careful now to not lose contact. They had a good start here, and if they can keep in the group, of course, they have a chance to fight for the medals.
They really do. All of these teams are really, really well matched, and this is really what they've all been preparing for. They want to peak here. Lots of looking at the map as they go. This is where they have the map exchange. They've got to go down these very steep set of stairs. They are really, really looking at this route choice that they have after the map exchange. But the gap to Sweden is really, really significant, and they've got fantastic runners. They've got Gustav Bergman, they've got Tove Alexandersson still to come. Super strong runners, super quick, but we know they can make mistakes. Maybe not 32 seconds of mistakes, we will see.
It's only 29 seconds now, so.
Oh, okay, they are closing up, and now we can see the different routes. So Max Petterbema has the B control. He should be approaching that one from the south, and now they will all split. So we're behind that group. They've all gone through that little alleyway, and they take a right turn already. So the GPS is behind up the pictures in the top left-hand corner. Ralph Street goes a little bit further down. He's got the B control, so that looks good.
I think Switzerland has the B control. It's going to the north though, so we'll lose a little bit time on that.
We've got Søren Bobak, familiar name to those who've been following orienteering from about 5 years ago. He's our running camera. He's got many sprint relay titles to his name, where there's a period of huge dominance and a huge amount of talent in the Danish team.
And it will be interesting to see if the group, if they can push each other to run a faster compared to Max Petterbema. Of course, he can kind of take control over the race. Maybe he's a bit more careful in his style of orienteering, approaching the controls. When he knows that he has the time, he is looking around and noticing that there's no other runner around him.
Well, he would have probably got a bit of a sense of that coming through the arena passage, just a little bit about the gap, a little bit of information, but he's looking really solid here. He doesn't have to put himself under too much stress, just try and keep it easy, and you don't win or lose a relay on the first and second legs.
I think he went down the stairs again, maybe not the best option to the next control. Here they are, Adon. We see also Krivda, who have made the same kind of mistake as Adon. Would have been faster for them to go to the south.
Street is there as well, but a little bit off the back, I think, of that one.
And the gap is still at 29 seconds from the arena passage. So let's see at the next control if the gap is growing.
Denmark falling back a little bit. That's Søren trying to Erdem there. His sister Miri has the last leg. You can see that's Joey Haddon going under the passage there, followed by Ralph Street. They've managed to identify all these little passageways, and the organisers have done a good job. I think it was years in planning to negotiate, I think, all of the different gates being open. I think they had to talk to a lot of the people who own these houses to say, please, can you open your gate for the World Championships?
Now I think actually that the gap is a little bit, that they get closer here.
Yeah, it's a little closer to Krivda, who went round.
Yeah, it wasn't the best option to go down the stairs again from control 10 towards control 11. I think Max Petterbema lost a few seconds there, so now the gap is only 15 seconds. Before it was 29 seconds, so it was quite a big time loss.
Joey Haddon nearly makes the same mistake that we saw Lina Strand make when she went from first to third. And this is the group here, still in touch. And then this is the long leg for the men's that we saw on the arena preview. We will see what they do here. There's a few barriers in this place. I think all the runners were expecting a lot of barriers. You've got to cross this bridge, which is over the street, and then nip down this passageway here. Then there's a few different ways they can split up. I reckon most of them will stick quite close to the river, as we will see them doing here. They have to cross over the river and then probably stay quite close to it, where you see Max Petter Bema do. And I wonder if now they start to see him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not here, but when they come to this open parking field there, to this parking area, I guess, there's a chance that they see him, and of course that would be a good indication for them and a big motivation.
Really big motivation. They all go the same way. I don't think many will choose this red route because you just have the angle of that bridge means you just have to go back on yourself, and it's quite a tricky one to do, but most will take, I think, the yellow option as they head very close.
We currently have a one-way between the 11 and the 13.
It's hard to say. I guess that the group there with Hadon, that they are to the north of the, yeah, they're on the north of this building. I even think that they're not on the green route, that they have to go and take the tunnel to the and cross the.
No, but did they go north of the railway line? Did they go away in the green?
Yeah,
I think they did. Goodness me, I want to see that again. I want to try and see it on camera because they've all gone the wrong route. They've gone in the out of bounds.
How is that even possible?
I know. Well, I ran that way and I didn't think you could go that way. But that is incredible.
Yeah, and now we have Great Britain in second position there.
And Denmark in third position. Or
yeah.
maybe we've got Latvia and Lithuania, in France. This is incredible there. There will be discussion about this later. You can be sure of that. But they all continued on, and they all saw, which they eventually realised. I wonder who the first one was to see. Maybe it was Krivda.
I mean, this is a huge mistake. It's almost about 45, 60 seconds. They're out of competition now.
You would think so, yes.
But how do we even get it? It would be interesting to see it without the tail, to see if there's a possibility, or how's the map. This, of course, we can check on our map here.
There is a path that goes there, but it just runs out. You know, they need to think that they have to go under the railway line, and surely that is what you have to do. So, but suddenly they've lost everybody else. Here's the leader, though. Here's Max Petter Bema. No mistakes for him. He goes the same way as his teammate Lina Strand. They will wind through this restaurant area, and this is second place. Then Ralph Street. He will not know it. He was off the back of the group, but I wonder. You know, he's made the right decision here. He's not fallen into whatever that trap was, and here is second place. He is 18 seconds behind the lead then. So our top two nations, 18 seconds, and there are about 5 different nations making the mistake here. This is them heading back underneath the railway line, and a lot of those who made a mistake. Adrian Delen did not make the mistake, neither did Bartkevicius for Lithuania, and Søren Hanne Erden for Denmark is also there in 5th spot. There he is.
And I mean, now there's a big chance for these teams here, France, Lithuania, and Denmark, Poland, to be in the fight for a medal, which they would not have been if the group before would not have made this mistake. So this is a huge chance for especially Denmark here to grab this bronze medal or even the silver.
They've never had a better chance with the team they've got. It's still a very young team. Here is the leader, though. It is still Sweden. Not all the best routes, though, for Max Petter Bema, but he is looking really strong, and he's managed to hold on to that decisive lead that Lina Strand managed. She just managed to stretch away from Simona Abbasol. But here, though, is Ralph Street. He is in second place for Great Britain.
And it would be really interesting to see how Ralph Street's position there when the group did the mistake, because if he saw them doing the mistake and was not following, then it was really a great job by him, and he had a good leg here.
But he was a few meters off the back of them, so but to not fall into that trap, to be actively doing their own orienteering. So Gustav Bergman hands up. Ralph Street is here. He's going to hand over to Chris Jones, who's waiting here. Chris Jones, who's been out of the British team for a while, but he is back and ready to race this one.
And Ralph Street, he had a great leg here. He went out 34 seconds behind. Now it's only 15 seconds, so a really strong leg here by Ralph Street, leading Team Great Britain to a second place after 2 legs.
And who'd have thought we'd have Lithuania and France ready to take the changeover in 3rd and 4th spots. So we've seen Czech Republic, we've seen Norway, we've seen Finland drop back, we've seen Switzerland drop back. Denmark hands over into fifth spots. They will hand over to Jakob Edson. So Søren Trond handing over to Jakob Edson. Screams on the line here as they hand over to the next leg runner. Here is Poland as well. Michał Olejnik handing over to Bartosz Pawlak, and here is the first of those who made this mistake. Let's have a look at the gap. It's at least 60 seconds, the gap. The mistake that was worth there. And we have Thomas Krivda handing over to Wojciech Kral. Wojciech Kral didn't actually run at the World Cup, and I think he's had a few problems with fitness, and now he'll hand over. But look here is Joey Hadorn. He must be absolutely beating himself up at this. And they hand over now. There's Matthias Kibberts. Watch him go. He's alongside Tim Robertson as well, who is odds on for a medal in the individual as well. Let's have another look at this replay.
So my guess is that they followed this path there. You can see on the north of the railway that actually stops there, but I'm not really sure if they. That's correct. I mean, we will hear about that for sure. But this is what an abysmal mistake here. It's a huge time loss. It's more than a minute in a sprint relay. I mean, well, in my opinion, there shouldn't be a way how you can make this, how you come back after this mistake. Maybe if they're very lucky and another team is doing something similar here in the fight for the bronze, they can get back into this fight. But I mean, the position now for Sweden is just great, and even Great Britain. I mean, they're such a good team. Great chance here to win a medal. Yeah, great chance, especially with the main rivals back in the pack. We've got really strong runners at the end on that British team, but Gustav Bergman at the moment is leading it out for Sweden. He's been in this position before. He knows what to do, and he's going to hand over to 15-time world champion Tove Alexandersson on the last leg. And what better person to have on the last leg than Tove Alexandersson? A reminder, she won everything at WOC last year. She won every single title. Can she do it again here in Denmark? There are some others who now started to push her, but you never quite know. Gustav Bergman, though, is full of confidence. You know, he's very much an all-round orienteer. I think it's been quite an unusual year for him to be only concentrating on the sprint. Of course, he trains with Caribbean every week in the forest, but still. Let's see here. There's Chris Jones. The gap was 15 seconds.
Chris Jones
is now.
We've had some illness at the World Cup, so he's really wanting to prove what he can do here. He's in a mood to prove himself. I think after missing out on selection for the Commonwealth Games for Wales, it was a big target of his that he had quite publicly, that he wanted to go to those games and run athletics. He didn't manage to do that, so yeah.
And here we are with the group fighting for the bronze medal so far, and we see that Denmark is getting closer again now, really in the fight here for this medal. France as well there, and Lithuania. Not really the teams we expected on the forehand to be fighting for this, and we see also Czech Republic, Wojtek Kral. It's actually quite close again to this bronze medal. Let's see how the other teams deal with this big time loss here. We have Switzerland, Matthias Kibberts.
Yeah, he started alongside Tim Robertson, so the two of them, they're so quick, they can really work together to try and bring some seconds back. Of course, Kasper Foster, we haven't even mentioned him yet. He looks like he's caught up a little bit of time. He's currently in 8th place, leading that pack there. He was just gone through so this is the control where you get the time split, so he's already gone through that point.
And the gap before was about 90 seconds, so it's still the same. They're not losing more time, but they don't get closer to the leaders at least. And that means that they're not getting closer to the silver medal either.
No, and here is the arena passage then for Gustav Bergman. He's almost a little. He's looking so closely at his map then as he goes through past Kolding and through past here, and I think Chris Jones has caught up some time. He has got his sides on the back of Gustav Bergman. Here is Chris Jones. He's only 9 seconds behind. So Sweden are being caught slightly, and we have that we're not even halfway through the course at this point. Okay, let's see where the chasing group are. They were about 30 seconds, no, about 30 seconds back. We will have a look. There's a big cheer as Denmark goes through. And Jakob Ekson is looking really strong. Let's keep an eye on him for the rest of the week because he is looking fantastically strong there.
I mean,
they will hand over to last leg for them is Meritrana Erdem.
He went out 52 seconds behind, and now it's only 39. So he started really strong here, catching 13 seconds compared to Gustav Bergman.
But you got to pace this.
It's really a statement here on this first loop of the course.
It really is a statement. Here's Tim Robertson, here's Kasper Fosser. And those two are looking good and strong. And I think Matthias Kibert has dropped a little bit back compared to the likes of Robertson and the likes of Fosser. So they are dropping back in the standings.
But the really interesting thing here is that even though we have Switzerland and Norway kind of far behind, we have this fight for the gold medal still. And for me, I must say, that's still unexpected. And if we just play this ahead a little bit and say that they go out, Sweden and Great Britain kind of together, then we would have the same finish, the same fight for the victory here as we had in Borås at the knockout sprint.
Yeah, Megan Carter-Davis and Tova Alexanderson. Of course, we saw Tova Alexanderson win that one. She just managed to pull away from Meg at the end of the race.
Now, if the cameraman stays a little bit here, we might see, yes indeed, Chris Jones coming here, just behind, and now he has the back.
There we go, they've got the same route here, they've got the same control. And Chris Jones, his track running times are impressive. He had the qualifying standard and really worked hard.
I mean,
to catch
in
up.
this part of the course, he can really play that out. You can see that. I mean, he sees the back of Gustav Bergman, and now he can really play his strength, his physical strength here in this section. Because, I mean, if you split up on such a long leg, you know that, yeah, most possibly you have the same control here, so you just can focus on pushing as much as possible, and you can see it. It's a mistake here by Gustav Bergman. He was kind of running past his control.
Right
yes,
control.
it is.
No,
he is also going back to this control.
Okay, he's actually punched the right control. I think we're okay. Overshot that to the other control. So both of them making a mistake there.
Yeah.
I think Gustav Bergman was the better one out of it.
And it really proves my theory that he kind of let the technical part go there and just focusing on the back. But at least he noticed that he approached the wrong control. And of course now Denmark is getting closer again after this mistake, and also France and Lithuania. That's maybe the biggest surprise of this relay so far.
Yeah, same for me. But they were in a good position to exploit that mistake that everybody else made. And that is really what is counting, I think.
Vilius Aleliūnas here for Lithuania. Start number 28.
So, yeah, incredible. Here's Kasper Fosser from Norway. They've got Andrine Benjaminsen on the last lap. This is not even enough for Kasper Fosser to do. We know Kasper has had a couple of tough few weeks between the World Cup and the World Championships. We know he had a stress fracture in the ear. He's had a few kind of groin issues. He said that wasn't why he ran the Norwegian Sprint Champs on Wednesday, although personally, I wonder if he may not have done that anyway. It's got very, very close before to have a race this close before that. And do they go the same way here? No, they're going to split up. It was very similar though in distance, I think, on these two routes from what I remember of the course preview.
Yeah, And one other thing, you can see that there's kind of a gap opening between Denmark and France, and we are behind Chris Jones here. And in my opinion, that's a good option. Of course, if you don't do the mistake that the others were doing, small mistake.
He should go down after the bridge, I think, but that is a couple of seconds.
Yeah, but it's he's still okay here. I mean, it's not a 1 minute mistake in this option here.
For me, he now needs to regain control. I think he's lost a little bit of control with these last couple of legs. Maybe now needs to settle down and just run a bit more within his capability. But Megan Carter-Davies is looking very happy and very up for it. She has been, as you said, familiarly running neck and neck with Tove Alexanderson here on this race. And now he's just got to not make the mistake that we saw from the others do here. Going, he does have to make sure he goes underneath.
For me, it's just I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, you can even if you run there too early, you can see the railway on the right, like to the right of you, and you should have the river to the right of you. So it's. I mean, it
so this
can
is
happen.
how it looks like here. If we follow Jakob Edson on this route, let's see if we can see what happened. I hope we stick with him here, because they rounded this section here, and
Guess
then
they
just
went to the left here.
Here, yeah. Instead of underneath.
Yeah. And I mean, here you can see you have to follow the river, and they followed the railway tracks for about 30 seconds. I mean, that can happen for like 5 or 10 seconds, but they're world-class orienteers. It's the World Championships. You shouldn't really follow there for 30 seconds.
No.
But interesting
really
now,
switched off.
we see on the GPS still Gustav Bergman, and the gap still about, let's say, 5 seconds between Chris Jones, Great Britain and Sweden. So we'll see them very soon at control 15, I guess.
And this is where a lot of people have gone, done that zigzag across the bridge there. You can see Lithuania, France there. Here's the Lithuanian.
And still in third position, Denmark. And here we are at control 15. And we are waiting for the leaders for Sweden and Great Britain.
So we are expecting to see Gustav Bergman out in the front, in the lead here, maintaining that lead for Sweden. The two of them split up on that long control. They've had a forking between after they went underneath the railway again. Can we see him? Here he is. Here is Gustav Bergman, looking very closely here. Just checking the punch, and there's Chris Jones. So
it's only 5 to 4 seconds.
And now most of the running is done, and they will just go the same way, I think, here.
And now it's very important that Chris Jones is really trying to get the back and don't let the gap go open. I mean, it will be tough for Megan Carter-Davies anyway, but if she has to kind of close the gap first and to get in contact, it will be even worse. So for him, it's really crucial to be together with Gustav Bergman. Even it would even be, I mean, even better if he managed to pass him in the uphill here, which is not impossible, but it's very important here that this gap is not growing bigger than this 4 seconds.
Okay, here are the two. Here's the leader and second place. They are together, just checking the punch on the EMIT touch free, and the two of them here now have this big climb. Gustav Bergman being chased down by Great Britain's Chris Jones.
And now it's really just physical here, and I mean, it's just running.
Here, it's really soft. You can see just how their feet make a dent in the carpet. It's really physical on this last section.
And important now that Chris Jones tries to pass Gustav Bergman to give Megan Carter-Davies a good position here, and that's exactly what he does here on the last meters. So every second is really important here.
So they will hand over pretty much neck and neck. Great Britain first off in the lead then on this mixed sprint relay, handing over to Tove Alexanderson. And what a third leg for Jakob Edson from Denmark, who is absolutely stormed around. Here's Mary Turner, and she is waiting for her teammates to come in here.
He was 52 seconds behind when he took over from Søren Tranedum. He is now here at the changeover in third position, and the gap is, let's see.
I'd say this is the run of the day so far for me. It is Jakob Edson on this leg, and he has caught up. Quite a few seconds there, handing over to Miritana Erdem. Right, then we have France, then we have Lithuania still. So France will hand over to Cécile Calandri, a young sprinter, and then Lithuania handing over to...
Ausrin Kultkaite.
And we've managed to, and I think Mathias Kiberts has caught up a little bit here. Norway handing over then to Andrina Benjaminsen here. We have Jana Stalikova on the last leg for the Czech Republic and Eleanor Ross on the last leg for Switzerland.
And I mean, now it's the gap is 39 seconds to Denmark. It's 106 compared to Switzerland, and Eleanor Ross compared to Miri Tranedum. Maybe.
Anything can happen on a sprint relay. We've seen it already today. Anything can happen, and here are the two leaders. It looks like Carter Davis leading out Tove Alexanderson, and they've got, again, we know they've got a different forking here. They've both got the A forking.
Kind of surprised that we see so many runners go this way. For me, it looks smoother to go the other way.
Yeah, but you do have a very sharp turn here, this one that they're all going, but maybe that means they're going to catch up a couple of seconds.
So they're still together, maybe a slight small advantage for Sweden with the first control.
These two controls very close together here. And so if we have a look at the forkings, so A, for both of them, they have the same forking the whole time apart from the last control, apart from the last forkings, that's by the river. They have a different control on that forking, otherwise they've got all the same controls.
And you see the group behind them, kind of two different groups, but the feeling is that very soon there is a possibility that all six of them will be together. Here we have, and we see that the gap is growing already. Sweden in the lead now. Let's see, gap of around 4 or 5 seconds here, and it looks very strong by Tove Alexandersson here. And of course, it's not an easy task to challenge Tove Alexandersson on the last leg here, the sprint relay. Here when they approach this control,
they
then
will
the
approach
next
from
one,
different directions, I think.
Yeah, the next one will be the TV control where we have to split it. My feeling is that it was a little bit better, a little bit faster. The option Megan Carter Davis chose here. See the gap around 5-6 seconds, 6 seconds here. And as long as she can see Tove Alexandersson every now and then, it's still, she still kind of has a chance, but I mean, even she must notice how that if it only is physical here, like only the comparison physically, that it will be very tough for her to challenge Tove this last control. But it's a tricky course, we have seen that before, and here is Denmark and also France.
And both of them will be looking back at the others and wanting to conserve that first and second place. They know there's a big challenge coming in from the third place, so they've got to try and maintain that. But now the race for third becomes very interesting.
And we see that there is Norway, Benjaminsen, and we see that also Switzerland is quite close to this group now, but still Denmark in the bronze position, but now the gap is, the other group is really, really close.
Cécile Calandri is having a really great run for the French team. Really solid start, and it looks for me like they're kind of dropping Lithuania a bit. We've also got Andrina Benjaminsen from Norway. She's so experienced on this last leg, and so too is this woman here, Eleanor Ross. She had a really kind of consistent performance. She looks like she's had a really good winter, and actually Megan Carter Davis now catching up and maybe a little bit on Tove Alexandersson as they go through this arena passage here. They've got to do this map change and over onto part two, a longer part two, of course.
And of course for her it's very good and very important that he can have this kind of reaction on Tuve's attack every now and then, just to show Tuve that I'm still here, whatever you're doing, I'm still here, I'm holding your back. It's like I'm behind you, and put on some pressure. She's just to give her the feeling that she's not allowed to do any mistake to win this race.
And from Tove Alexandersson's, that knockout sprint from her interview at the end of the knockout sprint, I feel like she enjoyed that challenge of having to run, neck and neck with someone. She's so used to being out by herself on this last leg of the sprint relay.
I don't think that she really cares about Megan Carter-Davies at this point, because she feels that, I'm quite sure that she feels that if I don't do any mistakes, I will have my chance at least to be in the run-in together with Megan Carter-Davies, and then I can beat her there. And so she will be totally focused on her race.
Okay, so we've had a change of positions here in the chasing group as well, with Norway taking the lead, Denmark dropping back again, Miri Trane Erden, Norway up there as well. So now it looks like here we go, here are these chasing groups, as we said, all change then in this fight, and it's Andrina Benjaminsen leading the way, Cécile Calandre from France in current fourth position, Eleanor Ross from Switzerland in fifth, and for me, the Danish and the Lithuanian teams are being dropped from this pack. Okay, lots of support then for the runners as they pass through here, and now we can follow the next group. Eleanor Ross just trying to nip ahead of Cécile Calandre, the French team, but now we are behind Megan Carter-Davies.
And you can see that they are splitting up. Megan Carter-Davies going to the south. They have the same option, we know that, and they have the B option, so it's the better option to go to the south.
I think it is a better option to go to the south. You've got to be really active on the orienteering, though. It's a long leg. You really can't switch off at this point.
And something that's really positive to see here is that Megan Carter-Davies was behind, and still she was choosing the right route choice here, so she's not just following the back. Of course, I mean, you don't know how big the forkings are, but sometimes when you get tired, you easily see the other route choice run by the runner in front of you. Alexandersson going in there. It's maybe not the fastest option.
But will we see them come together again here?
Of course, I mean, Alexandersson has been faster to that point compared to Megan Carter-Davies.
Interesting, and then they split up again, this group who are chasing for the bronze medal, of course. They split up again for this section.
I mean, it was a bit misleading when we are talking about the route choice, then we read the route towards control 8 from that point, and reading towards control B, it's a good option for Alexandersson. The mistake was in the beginning.
Yes, the mistake was in the beginning, and now they're doing the same route here into this B control. It's just up and around from these steps. I wonder if we've got a camera here. Yeah, there they go. So Tove Alexandersson, Megan Carter-Davies just about in the same shot, but Alexandersson has managed to pull away on this bit, even though we think her route wasn't quite the best. Megan Carter-Davies had a really strong performance at the British Sprint Championships. There's a little bit of, I think, maybe some fatigue there. She did have COVID last week, or a couple of weeks ago actually, after the World Cup, but she seemed to be running well at the British Sprint Championships, better than she was expecting, so that's really decisive. They split up actually going out of that control, and it looks like Alexandersson is taking the better route there.
Now it seems that it's not the best position for Carter-Davies here. Not the best route choice towards control 11. She started to look a little bit tired there as well.
Yeah, maybe needs to just kind of get back in within herself here on this running. We could see from the earlier routes, Alexandersson's choice here to 11 was better. When we tested it, it looked quicker as well. So they will kind of see each other maybe again here as they go to control number 11. But still a big gap on the rest of the field.
Interesting
really
also the fight behind Benjaminsen towards B control. The rest of the group going the other route choice. Switzerland having A Galandry. See her here in the picture. This is Denmark, France, there's Switzerland.
They're really, really doing well to check the flashing on the touch-free here. Eleanor Ross just maybe dropping back a little bit. A surprise for me. I think Benjaminsen has probably already gone through. Here is Tove Alexandersen. She is going through the park by the...
and you see the gap now is 20 seconds, so it's just growing and growing.
And here they've got different route choices. So Alexanderson has B, Carter Davis has A.
So this is the last forking here of this course.
There's really not many steps left to go.
There's another small mistake here. It's the same mistake as Chris Jones, yes.
But I think there are enough seconds in hand to protect that silver medal position.
And now I really get the feeling here that she's trying to defend this silver medal and kind of gave up the hope for the gold.
But she's, really, you can put a couple of safety seconds in, really be solid. Okay, here she is then. Here is Tove Alexanderson. She's got that gap then on Great Britain and Megan Carter-Davis. She'll come through past these really old houses and she's just got to try and avoid some of the people running around here. There's a very, very short way to go. We're going to watch now. Well, the gap was about 20 seconds. Is it going to be any more? As we wait for Carter-Davis, it looks like she's losing time here. Wait for Megan Carter-Davis at this control.
Doesn't really matter as long as she doesn't let the others get too close. Now the gap is growing and growing. Where is she? She lost 20 seconds here already.
Where
is she opening up for the teams behind now?
We don't have any of the GPS tracking.
Davis, here she is.
Here she is going through here. Don't know if that was a mistake.
And where are the others now? It's 56 seconds. Of course, they don't see her here, this position, and this is the world champion team.
Here's the Tove Alexanderson. You see she looks back down to the others, but we've just got the climbing up here for Tove Alexanderson. The gap back to third still looks okay for Carter Davis. No one yet through at that point. So Tove Alexanderson, a really grueling climb up here. She looks behind to see where the Brit is, but she is nowhere in sight. So the team defend their title, and Tove Alexanderson can run in to claim yet another world title here. Running with Lena Strand, Max Petterbeimer and Gustav Bowman. They can take yet another gold for Team Sweden. A really fantastic run by the whole team, and they are able to cross the finish line in style to take that gold medal. But we wait and look for the silver and the bronze. The seconds tick by, and we're looking for Carter Davis up the hill. Here she is. She's got to push hard. She trains a lot on the hills in Wales, and she is a very strong athlete. She's not managed to keep up with Carter Davis, but such was the fantastic running of the whole team here. Especially that run by Chris Jones, but really solid runs by the whole team means the Great British team is going to get their third medal in 9 years at the World Championships. They've been after this medal for so many years, and they have finally done it. They've been in fourth place, fourth and sixth so many times, and you can see it on the faces of the team just what it means for Great Britain to get a medal here. They are, and to get silver as well. Fantastic work.
Yeah, but a great performance by the whole team here. I mean, for me, I had the biggest doubt about Charlotte Ward in the first leg, but let's take them to the finish here.
Yeah, I want to talk about this third place because we now have a sprint out here, and the Danish Muretan is working so hard up this hill. They are really, really hurting here, but Andrina Benjamin Switzerland in 4th place. It is Denmark in 5th place. They should be really happy with that. France as well. Fantastic last leg from Cécile Kolding. Look out for her as well in the individual races. And I think Denmark will be very, very happy to get a top 6 position here. They should be really, really pleased with that.
Of course, and we remember the great round on the third leg by Jakob Edsen, kind of leading them towards this
That's still
5th
one of the
position.
best legs, I think, of this relay. Really strong.
And I mean, if we kind of look at the race, it's kind of the same story again. It's Lina Strand making the difference for Sweden on the first leg. Of course, we have this big mistake of the group on the second leg from the chasing groups, but still, I mean, we had discussions before. Hanna Lundberg, Lina Strand, more experienced runner, kind of won this race, and now she proved it again. The other teams really have to step up a little bit on the first leg, because if you give Sweden the chance to fight with this gap already, to work with this gap of this 20 seconds on the first leg.
Simona was close for so much of the time, and then they just pulled away right at the end. You know,
Yeah,
she just pulled away at the end of that with the physicality.
Yeah, you could really see that. I mean, it's a bit unfair. She was injured. She was not in top shape, and you can really see that. I mean, if you're not in top shape, you don't lose the time on the first 5 or 10 minutes. You lose it from 10 minutes to the finish, and that's exactly what happened. When we remember the pictures when she was running up the hill there, you could really see that. I mean, she even had to walk a few steps there, and for me, that's really the biggest difference. And of course, we had this big mistake, which I can't explain. It's of course, I mean, it's.
I've never seen that happen in a.
We were talking about it. It's a very intense sprint. There are many decisions. You try to read ahead whenever you get the chance, but still, it's.
And you're
I mean,
relying on others when you have that pack running. You just.
Yeah,
doing that temptation of following, you've got to get the balance.
Usually you do the parallel mistakes in tricky areas where you are within like buildings and alleys and passages, and here you had it. You were running just beside the railway.
Yeah.
That makes it so disappointing for me to see that can happen, of course, for 5 seconds, for 10 seconds, but they should. You should run next to a river, but you run next to a railway. That's kind of a difference, and you should be able to notice that. And they were not just running for a few meters; they were running for 30 seconds on this wrong way. And I mean, as you say, you're running in a group and you push each other, and no one notices. No one wants to be the one that's kind of backs out. I don't know, but then it's too big of a mistake. And this is second leg.
Yeah, with Max Peter Bejma having that big gap.
And you see here already the gap Max Peter Bejma got from Lina Strand. He could work with it. I mean, he didn't have the best run here. He opened up here out from control 10 with not the best route choice here. I guess they could see him some points, of course. And he was actually running the same route, so with a bit more luck, they would have seen it. And in the end, you can see that Rolf Street was in this group as well, and he didn't do the mistake.
He was a few meters off the back. I'm really interested to find out whether he saw them make that mistake or not.
And then you can see here. I mean, here we have this. 2 teams, Great Britain and Sweden, already in the lead, and you see the teams behind doing a great job as well. Denmark, Søndertrade, Ødum, and also Poland. We had Lithuania there, France, of course, with a great run here. And the gap here was actually quite big already, so I didn't really expect that Great Britain would be able to get in contact again, but I think it was really good for them that they had Chris Jones on this leg, because he's physically so strong. So when he gets the chance to just run behind the back, then he can make a difference here, and that's exactly what he did. Here we are on the last leg, and you can see that here at control 4, Tove, for a few seconds she opened up a little bit when she was kind of choosing a wrong route there. But you could feel already before that she had kind of one gear more in her motor and could just push away. Then kind of a strong comeback towards the arena passage, but then just after it, I mean, we saw that Tove Alexandersson, she didn't choose the best route to control 10, but still she was faster halfway through the leg compared with Carter Davis, and for me that was kind of the point where you could feel that, okay, now it's, yeah, the difference physically is too big. If Tove is not making a mistake here, then she will take this.
Yeah, it's on this leg that she managed to this control here. She manages to initially get that gap, and then I think a few kind of slightly dodgy route choices from Carter Davis.
You can see it here. It's not good to go back to the stairs. The route here by Alexandersson is really smooth. You can kind of, yeah, it's a smooth route. You don't have to back. You don't have to run stairs, downstairs, and. Yeah, and you can see here just the gap grows and just growing.
And then I wonder if there is a mistake here from Carter Davis.
Yeah, there is a mistake towards control 14, where she missed.
She goes down those stairs, which you could have kept going, and then I wonder if there was something else.
Yeah, I guess she missed the passage to control 14 there. See here, punching control 13 without problems, heading out there, and here maybe heading in. You couldn't really see, just hesitating
into there. It's hard to tell, isn't it, really? Maybe she had the longer.
But you know, this entrance there, it's more like a door that's open. It's not really a big passage. It's one of these passages we were talking about that looks like very private when you get there, but of course the door is open, so you see it, but it's one of those you couldn't prepare to be able to run through, because there's no chance this one was on the old map.
Okay, we're going to hear from then the winning team from Sweden.
A fourth consecutive win and world champions for Sweden in the sprint relay. Lina Strand, you started. What was your race like?
Yeah, it was quite controlled. I tried to save some energy for the end where I know I'm strong. But I didn't think I was that strong compared to the others today. But then I found an extra gear in the end as well, and I could send out Max in the lead as I planned to do. But I had to fight really hard for it today. But I'm very satisfied, and it feels very good to give the team a good start.
And Max Peter Beimer on the second leg, how was your day?
Beforehand, I felt like I'm the guy running with the stars in my team, so I'm just gonna do my leg and don't fuck up and hand over to Gustav in a good position. And yeah, it's all about fighting for yourself and ignore the others, do a good race. So happy with that.
And Gustav Bergman, you went out in the lead, but you were caught up by Great Britain. What did you think then?
Yeah, of course, it's a tough situation to be in. I started quite well, and then at the run through here, I like the Swedish coaches yelled at me to keep my calm and take it easy. So I was quite passive, like the middle part of the course, and I think that's where Chris really caught up. But then in the end, I just like focused on not doing any big mistakes and just hand it over in a good position. And then Chris was really strong in the sprint finish, so I felt like, okay, it's better to give Tove just some breathing space and like let her do her thing, and then it all turned out for the best.
What did you think when she went out on the last leg?
Oh, of course, it's nervous, but I didn't really have the time to get really nervous, because it's always go through everything and read out, get changed, and then suddenly she had a 1 minute lead, so then it wasn't that tight anymore.
And Tove Alexandersson, you could take a clear win. How was your race?
Yeah, I had a good race. They have done a so good job before me, so it was so fun to go out in the lead together with Megan, and I just try to stay cool and focus on my orienteering and be very careful with the route choices, and I think it was a really good course. It was really fun. It was clear but tricky with route choices, so just try to do a good job.
When did you know it was ready?
You never know in orienteering, everything can happen, and I didn't know that the gap was so big, so I thought that I knew that he wasn't just in my back, but I thought it was maybe like 10 or 50 seconds, and you can easily lose that, so it's just to continue to run a good race.
And this was the fourth victory in a row. What makes Sweden so good in sprint relay?
Yeah, we have a really good team, a really strong team, and you can see it's not the same runners every year. So we was the one that was running this year, but it could have been others also. So the whole team is so strong, and we are working together and pushing each other to become better. So I think it's the team spirit in the Swedish team.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, 4 in a row for Sweden is incredibly impressive, and the whole team performed really, really strongly there. Looking through then at the top 10, with Lithuania ending up in that 9th place, a really strong result for them. Poland as well in that top 8. Czech Republic a lot further down than we'd have hoped, but a lot of those nations were really fighting back after the mistake they made, but that mistake was only a minute, they maybe in there.
Come on, we're talking about sprint orienteering. You can't say only and the minute in the same sentence here.
That's true. It was a big mistake. It was huge. As we look back, and who really impressed you then today?
Well, there are a few runners I would like to highlight. Lina Strand, of course, is so confident on the first leg.
The fact that she said she was saving energy and then
and just to be able to send that, I plan to send out Max in the lead. I mean, that's quite good if you're able to do that. Jakob Edson had a great race. Chris Jones had a good race, but more or less the whole British team. Will be interesting to hear if Ralph Street has seen the others do the mistake, because then he would be lifted upwards as well to kind of a hero here in this relay. The whole Danish team did.
He saw that and he chose to right way.
Yeah,
We'll see.
the whole Danish team had a great performance. Also the French team, we didn't talk a lot about them, but they ended up on 6th position. Very strong performance. Kasper Fosser leading Norway back into the race, and of course Andrine Benjaminsen in a really, really strong way getting this bronze medal here for Norway. So there were good performances. I have to say it, I'm really disappointed by this group doing this big mistake.
Yeah.
That's shouldn't happen in a sprint.
It really shouldn't happen, and not somewhere like that at all. It's we'll have to have a chat to some people and figure out what was going through their heads and what exactly was happening in that moment, because that was really something quite interesting and unusual, and certainly made this whole relay incredibly dramatic. Okay, I think we're ready nearly then for our flower ceremony as the teams line up on the podium. Of course, they'll get the medals at another time. So very, very happy looking British team. I know they've been after a medal for a long time, but they would have been delighted with a bronze to get a silver.
And one other runner I forgot, Charlotte Ward. She did a really good run at the first leg. For me, she was the kind of the weak link on this team. If I just took it on paper before, of course, she had great performance in
She's the only one
Borås.
of that team not to have got a World Cup medal.
Yeah, and I mean she was very strong in Borås, but still compared to Lina Strand and maybe Simona Abersold, I thought she would. I mean, there was a risk that she would lose more, but she had a great performance here, and she kind of got them into this fight.
Well, we thought the Norwegian team would have to fight back a few places with Fosse and Benjaminsen on the last leg. Little did we know just how much they had to fight back after that big group mistake on leg number 2. But there's so much more potential, I think, from that team as especially the first 2 runners get more and more experience. We were just looking, I think we were talking before the race about the difference of experience between the Swedish team and the Swiss team compared to the Norwegian team, and they've had so many more runners in their relay teams. And the team of Great Britain are delighted to finally get a medal here on the sprint relay. It's been a goal for so many years. Of course, WOC 2 years' time is in Edinburgh. They'll want to go one more. They'll want to get another medal. And So that team, Charlotte Ward, Ralph Street, Chris Jones and Megan Carter-Davis, I know they want to try and maintain the form for 2 years' time at the next Sprint WOC in Edinburgh. But so many years, they've been in a good position, and then there's been a mistake made, they've been outside of the medal, so they're ready to be in that position. But, I mean, the dominance of the Swedish team continue, and particularly for me, the Swedish women. I think we will see that throughout the rest of the competition. The quality of, particularly the women, they are outstanding athletes, and I mean, the men aren't too bad either, but they're really, really strong runs. Lena Strand, the way she was able to pull away from the field, and Tova Alexanderson as well, all of them keeping their cool. It's the ideal start to this World Championships for them, and they will go into the knockout sprints feeling very, very confident. So those are the top three, of course. Sweden, Great Britain and Norway. And though all of those teams will be incredibly pumped to see what they can do individually over the knockout sprint on Tuesday and then the sprint race on Thursday. Well, what a fantastic sprint relay race, full of drama, full of excitement. There is more of that to come throughout this week. We will be back on Tuesday with the knockout sprint.
See you then.
På det danske hold. Lige klar til sidste gang om cirka på den tid, når vi har medaljeceremoni, hvor Danmark altså bliver lønnepladser også får lov til at komme med op på punktet. Det gør så sidst.